Hi friends, welcome to QApedia and this is our blog qapedia.com. Today the topic that we are going to cover is regression testing, and the subtopics that we will discuss today are regression testing, what is regression testing, examples of regression testing, when to do regression testing, retesting versus regression testing, importance of regression testing. Then we will see the summary of the session and then question for the session. So let's start. Regression testing. What is regression testing? So if we go by definition, then we will say that regression testing is a type of testing which is done to check that existing functionalities are working fine whenever some new functionality is added to the application. So whenever some new functionality or new feature is added to our software application, then we have to check that our existing functionalities or existing features are working fine. And this type of testing is called regression testing. Now, if you want to understand it in a better way, then we should see the example of regression testing. Then we'll be able to understand regression testing in a better way. So let's take an example of an e-commerce application, and let's say we are working on a new project and we have to test some features in our project, and it's a new project, so these features also will be new features. Now, what is the meaning of new feature? New feature means these features are developed now only and these are ready for testing for the very first time. So we are going to test it for very first time. Now, let's see, below is the list of features that we are going to test for the very first time. Now, we are going to call them new features or new functionalities. So what are the new features that we will test? Create home delivery order, search for a product, browse a product, checkout, and that shipping address, shipping method, payment method, and then create a return. So we have to test all these new features. So we have to test, are we able to create home delivery order? We have to test, are we able to search a product? We have to test, are we able to browse a product? We have to test the checkout functionality like shipping addresses, shipping method, and payment method. And then we have to check, are we able to create a return or not? So let's say we tested all the features, we have tested all these features and we have found them passed, all are passed. Now when these are passed, then what will happen? Some more new features or functionalities will be added. Okay, so because new features are coming, so these features will become old features or these features will become existing features. Now they are not new features, now they have become existing features. So let's say that there are two new features added like create a pickup order and then create exchange. So if suppose we will see the list of new features and existing features, then the new features are create a pickup order and then create exchange. These two are new features. And if we will see the list of existing features or old features, those are create home delivery order, search for a product, browse a product, checkout, shipping address and all those things, create a return. So these five features are existing features. Now what we will do, we are going to test these two new features. We will test these two new features and we found, if suppose we have found them pass, those two features are pass. Now we don't know that our existing features are working fine or not because we did not test them again. Okay, we tested them earlier, but after these two features, after we have tested these two features, we did not test these existing features. So we don't know whether they are working fine or not. And there will be a chance of existing features failure because there is a belief that whenever some new feature implementation happens, then that impact our existing features. So whenever some new feature is implemented, then we should test our existing features as well. We have to test them as well. So what we'll do, after testing our new features, we will test our existing features also. And let's say we have tested our existing features And after testing those existing features, we have found that our two existing features are not working fine. Okay, we have 5 existing features, and then we found that 2 are not working fine. And those 2 features are create home delivery order and create a return. So create home delivery order and create a return is not working fine. Create home delivery order is not working fine because of this create pickup order has impacted this, and create a return is not working fine because create exchange order has impacted this. So this create pickup order has impacted home delivery order, create exchange has impacted return order. So our new features have impacted our existing features. So what we have to do, we will have to raise defect for these two features failure. So we will raise defect for that, and this is how our regression testing is normally done. So if we want to define regression testing, then we can say that regression testing is done to check that our existing functionalities or existing features are working fine whenever some new functionality is added to the application. So we have to check that existing features are working perfectly fine whenever some new features are added. Even if it is not working fine, then we should raise a defect for that. So this is how a regression testing is done. Now we have to see when should we do regression testing. Regression testing is done generally whenever uh, some new functionality is added to our application. So whenever a new functionality is added to application, then that new functionality might impact our existing functionality. And in that case, we should do a regression test so that we can make sure that our existing features are working fine. After a defect is fixed, whenever we raise some defect and that defect is fixed, then the development team fixes the defect, and this new fix which development team has given, it might impact our existing functionalities or existing feature. So we should do a regression test so that we can make sure our existing features are working fine. And in case of some change requirement, so whenever some change happens in the system, such as our application migrates from one environment to other environment, then as part of migration testing also we should do a regression test so that we can make sure our existing features are working fine. So these are some cases when we should be doing a regression test. And then retesting versus regression testing. So what is retesting? And retesting simply means that testing the same test case again. But why will somebody test the same test case again? And the answer is, whenever we test a test case for the first time and we find it fail, then we log a defect and then the developer will fix the defect. Once the developer will fix a defect, we have to test the test case again, and this thing is called retesting. So testing the same test case happens whenever some defect is raised. Now let's see some differences between retesting and regression testing. Retesting means testing the same test case again, and regression testing means identifying the impact on existing features due to any new change. Retesting is done only when a defect is found, but regression testing is done always when some new feature is added, when some defect is found, or in any other case. Retesting is not time consuming because it is specific to one test case, but regression testing is time consuming because we have to test many features as part of regression testing. Then retesting is done on the failed test case, but regression testing is a generic testing. Now let's see importance of software testing. So importance of regression testing. So regression testing is very important. First, it ensures stability. So regression testing helps in ensuring that the software remains stable even after the modifications or changes are made to it. It verifies that existing functionality has not been impacted by changes. Saves time and money. So regression testing can help us in saving time and money because we can catch defects early in the development life cycle. So if the defects are caught early, it is cheaper to fix them. Increases confidence. So regression testing increases the confidence in all the stakeholders by showing that the existing features have not been impacted and our software is stable. Then it improves quality. So regression testing improves quality of software by identifying defects early and ensuring that they are fixed before the software is released to user. So these are some 4 features because of which we say that our regression testing is very important and very critical. Regression testing will ensure stability, it saves our time and money, increases the confidence, and then it improves quality. So overall, regression testing is a critical component of software testing, and it ensures that the stability or quality of the software application remains there. Then let's see the summary of the session. So we have covered below topics in this session. What is regression testing? Examples of regression testing, when to do regression testing, retesting versus regression testing, and then importance of regression testing. Now let's see the question for the session today. List up the difference between regression testing and retesting. So that's it for this session, guys. If you want to get the notes for this session, then you can go to this blog and get the notes. So that's it in the session. Thank you very much.